So I forgot that I watched Thundercats Roar. I actually I actually really did forget. It's kind of hilarious that I forgot. Like it's it's really hilarious that I forgot. But it was so boring. I mean, it was so boring that there's only so many ways that I can say it. But when I was getting ready to do the video today, because I had closed out the browser and everything. And so I came back and I've just been looking, and you know what? Like, all of these cartoons are looking the same. Like, they're all looking the same. And I really feel bad for kids because I look back and I think, there was Ren and Stimpy, there was Rocco's Modern Life, then there was, okay, my mind is blanking, but, you had Johnny Bravo and the Powerpuff Girls and Samurai Jack, and the list goes on, and SpongeBob, and you had a lot of these cartoons of people taking chances. You had Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, because that was one of my favorites. I look at this and I go, where is the chance taking? Because it's gone. Like, everything right now is just weird for the sake of being weird, and it's not even entertaining. Like, it's not entertaining because it just looks the same now. Like, I watched Thundercats Roar. Now, I was upset when I first saw the designs and things like that, and I watched their video and I listened to the showrunner talk about, and I heard people say, well, he seems like he loves the property, and I have no idea where they got that, because even just in listening, it basically was a matter of, it was a property that his older brothers liked, but he found very silly. So he didn't even like it in the first place. And you could tell that he didn't like it. And then, as everything kept going, a question kept coming to the back of my mind. Did he even like his brothers? And is all of this really just a way of just throwing it in his brothers' faces how much he despises them? And I asked that question because, a lot of these, especially a lot of these Tumblr people, you look at their tweets, you look at the way they behave, you look at a lot of that, and you could tell they just have a lot of just meanness in them and anger, and they just this rage that's just barely beneath the surface. And so it actually is a valid question. I don't think he likes his brothers. I don't think that he does at all. I think that all of this really was just a way of destroying what others were attached to. But I think a lot of these reboots and whatnot, they're all based around that, because they're all the same, and they all take something that was relatively serious or relatively successful and had a base. And, especially if that base is the older millennials or the Gen Xers, and then this younger millennial generation, they take that where they didn't even grow up with it, and they set out to destroy it so they can make it into their own image, and then pretend as if they were always the ones who only cared about the properties. Now, I saw the Clownfish TV review of Thundercats Roar, and I laughed the whole time because I love Geeky Sparkles when she gets on a rant. And then I watched part of Comics Matters with your boy Zach. I watched some of his review of it, and of course there were polar difference, but it basically was a matter of you had someone who grew up liking the show and then you had someone who didn't really care about the show. I grew up loving the show. And so, I mean, I I actually went and on my Amazon Prime, I bought the back seasons and I do watch them because I really did love the original Thundercats. And I remember being a kid and just like with my brother and my cousins and, playing Thundercats and, running around the house with, with the Sword of Omens and just, that was us growing up. And then I watched this and I didn't laugh one time. And you can tell they want you to think it's all just silly. And it makes me think of what Diversity in Comics said in his video, where basically it's like they don't like the idea of heroes. And I can really sort of get that because the way that they portray Lionel in this, as if he is just a joke, as if him wanting to be a hero, as if it's just all one big, like, joke. I mean, it's terrible. It's terrible because you look back at the originals and starting with, I hated the fact that instead of showing us their beginning, we just got told a bunch of information. And it just, like, the time that I was watching that beginning part, I just kept thinking back to the original first episode of Thundercats and how they showed us that they were, refugees trying to find a new planet. How, there was the tension of, they were being chased and trying to find a place and wondering what are they going to do. And, the idea of we're now going to have to change as a result of, this new life that we're going to be living. And we have to protect Lionel and, like the sacrifice. And, it was, you got to see it. So you got to experience the emotions versus, oh, the planet just exploded. Oh, look, there's a ship. And, and then there's just this over narration that just tells you all the information that you need to know. And it's all just very silly. Ha 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 ha. Don't you find it funny? And like, you could tell the people who did this, they don't understand. They don't understand not just the Thundercats property. It's like, this is my criticism of Man of Steel. Like when I watched that, these people don't know how to human. They really don't know how to human. They don't know what makes humanity tick. They don't know or understand the hero's journey. And it's because they themselves are not heroes. And like, it goes back to, I mean, I've said this a lot in like my regular life, but, Diversity in Comics didn't mention it too, where it's, it's this idea of they lack empathy. And they do. They lack real empathy. And so they keep talking about empathy because they lack it and because you want to rewrite the rules. And, in this, and I did not watch part 2. I was asking myself, am I going to watch part 2 of the 2 episodes that are out there? And then I can't. I can't. I have no interest in this show. Like at least with, what's the name of that? Teen Titans Go. Like I found humor in it. Like it's definitely worse than the original one that I used to watch, but at least I found some humor in that because the characters were still relatively themselves. Like in this, no one has a depth of character. Everyone is just they're they're one dimensional. They're one dimensional, and they really are. They're one dimensional because that's the joke. Oh, in the original, Lionel was a hero. So that's the joke. And there's no depth to it. Oh, Tigra, he was the straight-laced one. So that's the joke. Chitara is fast. That's the joke. And everything is based around that. It's just, oh, this person did this in the original. Oh, that's hilarious. That's the joke. And there's no thought put into it nowadays. There's no, for years I stopped watching Cartoon Network. And for years, I stopped watching it. And I've come back for a little bit, but this newer age thing that they were doing, just I'm clearly not the audience for it because it's all just very silly and not to be taken seriously. And I don't think that is I don't think that's fair to children. I don't think that's fair for them to do to children, especially because I know it's not made for children. But no matter what they say, it's not made for children. It's made for weirdo adults who don't want to take anything serious and don't want to grow up. That's clear at this point. And it's a very sad thing because, it's they're turning these things into themselves. They don't want to grow up. They don't want to be, a complicated human. They don't want to grow. They don't want to do anything other than, just, I guess, be given stuff, be taken care of, whatever it is that, they want influence. They don't, it's hard to, it's kind of becoming hard to pin them down because it's hard to pin them down because I am an adult. When I became an adult, I became an adult. I grew up as an adult, was supposed to, you do what you have to do to survive. You take that chance and you think things through. And you're seeing a lot of lack of thought nowadays and lack of taking chances. And, everything is just sort of everything really has just become, it's all silly. It's all pointless. It's all, just surface level things, which, as someone because I love creativity, I hate what I see nowadays because this is stuff that it's going to age badly when we get out of this. And then it's going to just be this whole, I don't even know. But I did not like Thundercats Roar. I did not like it. And I know that I'm not going to watch on. I don't even know who this audience, I do know who the audience is for because it really isn't for kids. I think about one of my younger cousins, because you have the book series Diary of a Wimpy Kid. And, my aunt was telling me about what her granddaughter was reading, and she was talking about the story, and it literally was a story about nothing, about a kid who wanted to sit in his room all day and play video games and not go outside like his mother wanted him to. And I just sat there and I thought, whatever happened to stories about kids doing things, about characters doing things? And then it's sort of no wonder things are becoming so messed up because everything is about being random. Everything is about not doing anything. Everything is about don't take anything seriously. We went from a hero's journey to overpraising people who don't do anything with their lives. And now that is the hero. Lionel is not a hero because Lionel wants to do things. He wants to protect, he wants to protect his group. He wants to, be the leader that he's supposed to be. We're not supposed to take that. Like, that's now a joke. Like, that's now a joke. There's no reason to have a hero anymore. And like, if we get to that, I cringe at the idea of what society is going to be like. I cringe at what society is going to, because I don't even want to know. I don't even want to know. If we get rid of the hero's journey, which, in movies and TV and all of that, the hero's journey is one of the most important things. It's one of the most important things because we as humans, we are complex in our thinking. We do have, we do have that interest in what people are going to do when, push comes to shove, because that's the kind of life that we live. We may not have like the kind of adventures and things that we read, but every day we're confronted with, the idea of doing something versus not doing anything. And you have this group now that are taking those kind of stories and they're getting rid of it. And they're telling you that heroic stories now should not matter. I went and I saw 1917, and then I came home and I was looking and I was trying to look up because I was trying to figure out who the actor was, because I really enjoyed his performance. And in the search, I saw an article from Variety, and and basically the writer was trying to say that 1917 did not deserve to win the Oscar for Best Picture. And and I look back and it's sort of like, like looking at it now and like this thing where we're now saying that the hero story is a terrible story. And it's sort of like, is that the reason? Because you want movies, and that really is the thing, because that has been the trend. Because I look at, movies that have won Oscars and things like that, and most of them, they're not stories about heroes' journeys. They're not stories, about, people taking that, or people even taking that journey. Because I'm trying to figure out, it's like it's politics, it's forced diversity, it's people being, it's like bad people doing things to other bad people kind of thing. Like, because now it's sort of like, well, I so don't like 1917 that, well, maybe the Joker should win. Okay. I mean, I'm sure it's a great movie, but you didn't really have a reason for Joker to win other than the fact that you just don't want 1917 to win. And that's kind of like the place that we are. Don't be a hero. Don't like heroes. Don't like the hero's journey. Don't learn how to think of others and do things for others. Instead, learn how to be incredibly selfish. Learn how to think only about yourself. Learn, and that's the place that we have gotten to, where heroes now are not heroes. They're just terrible people that you're being told is a hero, and you watch it and you go, but that's not a hero. That's a terrible person. And that's just, I don't like that, obviously. I don't like that. I don't like that. But it's one of those things where it's sort of like, how do you even push back? And I mean, it's hardly going to be tackled in a video like this, but anyway, don't watch Thundercats roar. Just don't do it. Don't do it to yourself. Just don't do it to yourself. If you loved the original show, if you even liked the 2011 reboot, and I can't say anything about that because I didn't watch the reboot at that time. I wasn't watching cartoons or anything like that at that time, so I can't say anything, but I just know that I've seen still images of it, and the animation looked amazing. And I understand why they're doing all this butt ugly animation. It's because it's so much cheaper to do this kind of animation than regular animation. But, don't do it to yourself. And that's that. If you like this, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications, share, do all of that. Do not watch Thundercats roar. And I'll see you on the next video. Bye.